Elon Musk entered the children's hospital expecting small talk and polite smiles. Instead, he met a little girl with eyes full of light and a question waiting for him. "You're the rocket man," she said with a giggle. "Do you believe in God?" Elon paused. No cameras were rolling, no tweets were planned. This was real. He knelt beside her bed and replied, "I believe in science, in building, in thinking." She tilted her head and whispered, "But who gave you the thoughts?" The room went quiet. For a man who spoke to governments and galaxies, a child's question suddenly felt louder than any rocket launch. "I don't know," he admitted honestly. "I've always chased answers, but you seem to have peace without them." She smiled. "Because I talk to God. That's where my peace comes from." Elon blinked, unsure why his chest suddenly felt heavy. "You pray?" he asked softly. She nodded. "Every day, even when I'm scared, especially when I'm scared." "What do you say?" he asked. Her voice was a whisper. "Thank you for loving me, even if I'm sick." Elon swallowed hard. "Why would you thank him when you're hurting?" She shrugged. "Because love isn't about feeling good. It's about not feeling alone." In that moment, the most logical man on Earth felt something unlock, a door he didn't know had been closed. Elon stayed longer than planned. The girl's name was Anna. She was 8, diagnosed with leukemia, but her spirit glowed brighter than his Mars prototypes. "Do you pray for healing?" Elon asked. She nodded. "But not just that. I pray for my mum, my nurse, and you too." He was stunned. "Why me?" he asked. Anna replied, "Because you have so much power, but maybe not much peace." Elon smiled softly, hiding a tremble. "That's fair," he admitted. "I build things to solve problems, but some days I still feel like something's missing." "Maybe you're building too loud," she said. "God whispers. He won't shout over rockets." Elon looked down, speechless. "So prayer is listening?" he asked. Anna beamed. "Exactly. Like tuning into a station that always plays hope, even when you're crying." "But you're so young," he said. "How do you know so much?" She replied, "When your body gets weak, your heart learns fast." "My heart's not weak," Elon said. Anna smiled again. "Maybe that's why it's still learning." He laughed. It felt warm, familiar. Elon's assistant peeked in. "We need to go." He held up one finger. He wasn't ready. Not yet. "Can I come back?" he asked. Anna nodded. "Of course. God will be here too." Elon returned 2 days later with no press, no team, just a warm drink and questions he never thought he'd ask. "Is it okay if we pray together?" Anna smiled, weak but bright. "Of course. You don't have to know how. Just be honest. God understands even messy words." He sat beside her, unsure. She closed her eyes. He followed. Silence. Then her voice, soft as wind. "Thank you, God, for this day and for new friends." Elon kept his eyes shut longer than she did. In that stillness, something softened, something he hadn't felt since childhood. "You believe he listens?" he asked afterward. She nodded confidently. "He listens when I'm scared, when I'm sad, even when I'm angry, especially then." "What does he say?" Elon asked. "Not much," she replied, "but I feel better after. It's like he listens through my chest, not my words." Elon said, "I've spent decades perfecting tech, but it's something no algorithm could understand." She giggled. "God doesn't need code to connect." "You're changing how I see everything," Elon admitted. Anna whispered, "Maybe God's using me like a little antenna." As he left, she said, "Don't forget to talk to him, even if it's just, 'Hi.'" Elon smiled and replied, "I won't." That night, he didn't open Twitter. He opened his window, looked up, and whispered, "Hi." Elon began waking earlier. No device, just stillness, remembering Anna's words. God listens through the chest. He placed his hand on his heart and breathed slowly. He didn't pray with fancy words, just thoughts, hopes, regrets. It wasn't religion, it was release. And he felt strangely lighter each time. Prayer isn't weakness, he realized. It's like rebooting the soul. He wrote that down on a sticky note and stuck it to his mirror. At work, he paused before meetings, not for strategy, but for silence. His staff noticed. He's quieter lately, softer, still brilliant, but more grounded. Grimes asked him, "What's going on with you?" Elon replied, "A girl in a hospital taught me how to hear what I've been ignoring." "You mean religion?" she asked. "No," he said. "I mean peace." Late one night, he opened his journal, not to write code, but to write thanks for life, for Anna, for clarity. Prayer is like sending signals into space, he thought. You may not get a reply, but something changes when you transmit. That week, he sent Anna a handwritten letter. "Thank you for helping a tired man feel again." She read it aloud and whispered, "See, God, told you he was listening." Elon returned again. This time, the air was heavier. Anna's mother pulled him aside. "Her condition's worsening, but she still lights up when she talks about you." He entered the room. Anna's smile was thinner, but her eyes still held galaxies. "Hi again," she whispered. "Guess you're stuck with me." "I heard you're not feeling great," Elon said gently. She replied, "It's okay. God knows the plan. I just follow it." "Aren't you afraid?" he asked. She shook her head. "Sometimes, but then I pray, and the fear gets smaller than me." "You're so brave," Elon said. Anna giggled. "No, just really loved." He sat beside her again. "What should I pray for?" he asked. She replied, "Not for me. Pray you stay soft. The world needs soft geniuses." That line hit him harder than any press headline. Soft genius. He never wanted that title, until now. "I want you to get better," he said. "I know," she smiled. "But if I don't, it's okay. I'm already better inside." "You're the bravest person I've met," Elon said. She nodded. "That's because I don't walk alone. Ever." When he left, he didn't cry immediately, but he did that night. Quietly, into his hands, and he prayed, "Please, let her stay." Elon spoke at a tech conference the next day. His topic was scheduled to be Neuralink. Instead, he changed it last minute. "Today, I met a teacher," he told the stunned crowd. "She's 8, in a hospital, and she taught me more than any PhD ever did." "She taught me prayer," he said, "not as religion, as rescue." The audience sat in silence. Elon had never spoken like this. It wasn't scripted. It was sacred. "We build to escape gravity," he said. "But we forget the gravity of the soul." Tweets exploded. "What's happening to Elon?" some asked. Others whispered, "Maybe he's just waking up." He didn't care about the noise. His thoughts were with Anna, and the peace she had given him. Across the world, people replayed the speech. Parents cried. Children asked to pray. Skeptics sat still. One pastor wrote, "Elon didn't preach. He revealed. And sometimes, that's holier." The ripple had started, not from a pulpit, but from a hospital bed, where faith burned quietly in a little girl's heart. That evening, Elon stood by his window, city lights blinking below. For the first time in years, he whispered not to the world, but to the heavens. "If you're real, if you see her, if you've ever heard me," he said, "then help her stay. Or help me understand if she can't." He wasn't sure if it was prayer or desperation, but something responded, not in words, but in the stillness that followed. That stillness felt warm, safe, like someone bigger was listening, like the universe wasn't empty after all. He didn't tell anyone about that moment, but he wrote it down. Prayer doesn't prove God, but it sure feels like being found. He began listening to gospel music quietly, not for belief, just for comfort. One song repeated, "You are not alone." And for once, he believed it. The next day, he sent Anna a voice message. "Thank you for showing me a God I never thought I'd meet." Her mother played it for her. She smiled faintly and whispered, "He's learning." I knew he would. That night she prayed, "God, don't heal me for me. Heal me so he'll believe it wasn't luck." Outside the hospital, clouds shifted and the stars blinked through. Elon looked up, and this time he whispered, "Thank you." Elon received a letter, handwritten, from Anna. "Dear Mr. Elon, I hope you're still listening to God. I think he really likes you. He told me." The handwriting was shaky, but clear. "Don't stop praying, even when it's quiet. That's when God's closest. I miss you," it read. "You made me feel like a hero, but really, you're the one building hope for everyone. Just don't forget to rest." Elon read it twice, then again. He folded it slowly, as if the paper carried her soul. "You've helped millions," she wrote, "but you helped me most, by just sitting and listening. God does the same." He placed the letter beside his bed. No tech that night, no spreadsheets, just Anna's words echoing through the quiet. "I'm not afraid," she wrote, "because God has a better house than this hospital. But I hope I stay long enough to see you smile again." That line undid him. He cried, not loudly, but deeply. Not out of fear, but because something so pure had entered his complicated world. Elon whispered, "I believe you. I believe he really does like me." Then, with trembling fingers, he replied, "Thank you for opening a door I thought was locked forever." Days passed. Elon called the hospital. "How's Anna?" he asked. There was a pause, a breath. Then, "She's not doing well, but she keeps praying." He asked to speak with her. They wheeled the phone near her ear. Her voice was faint. "Hi, Rocket Man." "Hi, Anna," he said, holding back tears. "I've been praying too." She replied softly, "I know. I can feel it." "I wish I could fix you," he said, "like one of my rockets." She giggled weakly. "I'm not broken. Just boarding another ship." That metaphor silenced him. "Are you scared?" he asked. "A little," she said. "But God's holding my hand now." Elon whispered, "Mine too." They stayed quiet for a long time, breathing through tears neither needed to explain. "I'm proud of you," she said. "You've got a strong mind, but now you've got a soft heart too." "That was always missing," Elon admitted. "You gave it back." "God used my small heart to open your big one," she said, and then drifted off into sleep. That call wasn't the end. It was a beginning, a final lesson in faith, love, and surrender. A week later, Elon got the call, the kind that makes the world freeze. Anna had passed peacefully in her sleep, hand on her chest, smiling. Her mother told him, "She prayed for you before sleeping. Said, tell him I'll be cheering when he prays again." Elon didn't speak, just listened, hands trembling, eyes burning, soul wide open. He walked outside, looked up, whispered, "Thank you for her." For every word, every breath. He didn't post anything. No tribute online, no tweet, just a quiet candle on his windowsill and a note beside it. For Anna. Her funeral was small, but hundreds who never met her lit candles, shared stories, or sat in silence, thinking of her courage. Elon sent flowers with a note. She changed more than my mind. She changed my spirit. That week, he cancelled several meetings, not because of grief, but because some things deserved pause. She gave me prayer, he whispered to a friend. I'll spend the rest of my life making sure I never lose it. And though she was gone, her light kept glowing, in him, and in a world suddenly reminded how sacred small voices can be. Every night, Elon lit a candle for Anna. Not out of habit, but reverence. It's not prayer, he said once, it's memory, which may be even holier. He kept her letter on his desk. It reminded him that faith isn't about feeling certain. It's about holding light in the dark, even when your hands shake. He began journaling, short prayers, longer reflections. Let me love better. Let me listen deeper. Let me not forget what she taught me. Staff at Tesla noticed the shift. He was less reactive, more present. Still intense, but with edges softened by something sacred. What changed? A close friend asked. Elon just held up the candle. This helps me see what my ego never could. He donated quietly to the hospital. No media, just a note. In honor of the girl who made a rocket man finally slow down. At night, he'd look up, not to calculate distance, but to feel nearness. To her, to peace, to the mystery she introduced him to. A tech blog published, Musk's tone has changed, but they didn't know why. That story wasn't for headlines, it was for heaven. Her impact didn't go viral, it went internal, into the code of his character, rewriting him without deleting what made him strong. One night, the candle flickered longer than usual. Elon smiled. You're still teaching me, aren't you? He didn't go to church to be seen. He went to sit in the back, not to learn doctrine, but to listen to silence among others doing the same. People whispered, "Is that Elon Musk?" He nodded, but said nothing. He wasn't there as a mogul. He was there as a man remembering a child who prayed. The choir sang a hymn Anna once mentioned. His eyes welled up, not from sorrow, but from a strange, sweet ache called grace. He didn't raise his hands, didn't recite every word, but his soul leaned in. And sometimes, that's all God asks. A little girl in front of him drew stars on a church bulletin. Her mother shushed her, but Elon smiled. She sees heaven in shapes, he whispered. After the service, a pastor greeted him. Thank you for coming, Elon replied. I'm just here to remember someone who taught me how to pray. You found faith? The pastor asked. No, Elon answered. Faith found me. Through her, through silence, through pain, through light. He left quietly. No photos, no interviews, just his heart full and his hands steady. That Sunday, he didn't build anything. He just received. And that, too, was sacred work. Maybe God doesn't live in churches, he later said. Maybe he lives in little girls who make grown men believe again. Every launch now started differently, not with countdowns, but with quiet. Elon stood silently as his team followed. For Anna, he once whispered before ignition. The change confused some, inspired others, but no one could deny. The launches felt different, as if they weren't just reaching space, but something spiritual. We build for the stars, he said, but let's not forget who gave us breath. He started gifting each crew member a card before missions. Inside, be brave, be still. She believed in you too. Engineers asked, who is she? Elon replied, the one who reminded me I have a soul. Prayer wasn't performance for him, it became pause, sacred space before speed. At home, he kept a prayer corner, one candle, one photo, one verse. Anna once scribbled, be still and know. I don't understand it all, he told Peterson, but I feel better when I pause. That's reason enough. Peterson replied. Stillness is the rarest form of courage. Elon smiled. She had that. Now I try to have it too. What began as grief became growth. What began as pain became purpose. And in that purpose, prayer wasn't a word. It was his new ritual. You're not the same, the journalist said during a sit-down interview. Something's shifted. What happened? Elon smiled. A little girl prayed, and somehow I started listening. Was it religious? They asked. No, he said. It was deeper. It wasn't about joining something. It was about becoming someone worth listening to. What do you pray now? The host asked. Elon paused. Thanks, mostly, and for courage when I forget everything she taught me. Do you think she changed you? No, he said. I think she reminded me who I was before the noise. They played a clip of Anna's voice. Elon's eyes closed. He didn't cry, but his chest rose and fell like someone breathing for the first time. Would you call yourself a believer now? The host asked. I'd call myself awake, he replied, and waking up feels a lot like grace. That clip reached millions, not because Elon was famous, but because someone finally admitted that strength and softness can live in the same body. People didn't just hear him, they heard her, through him. And that was her final miracle. I used to speak to rooms, he said. Now I speak to the silence, and it speaks back. The interview ended not with applause, but with stillness, because sometimes the holiest moments are also the quietest. Elon launched a foundation quietly. It wasn't for rockets or AI. It was for children like Anna, fighters with faith stronger than science. We'll fund prayer rooms in hospitals, he said, and journals, notebooks, space for thoughts, fears, hope, where silence can speak. He named it the Anna Light Project. She didn't live long, he said, but her light outran every rocket I've built. Letters poured in, from kids, parents, nurses. Thank you for remembering her, they said, but Elon whispered back, she remembered us first. I can't explain faith, he said, but I can honor it, especially when it looks like an 8-year-old girl with more courage than code. He didn't want statues. He wanted stars named after her. One now glows in her name. Hope 1. On the anniversary of her passing, he tweeted one sentence. She prayed. I listened. We changed. It became the most shared post of the year. At SpaceX, there's a plaque now. It reads, "To the girl who taught us to launch with love." Elon's legacy wasn't just brilliance anymore. It was beauty, softness, and soul, all because of a little girl who prayed. And every time someone asks why he changed, he smiles and says, because I met someone who believed long before I did. Elon visited a school to speak about innovation. But midway, a child raised their hand and asked, "Do you believe in God?" The room fell silent. Elon smiled gently. "Yes," he said. "Not because I figured it out, but because a little girl showed me what love sounds like when spoken with faith." The children leaned in as he shared Anna's story, not as a legend, but as a light. She prayed with more power than any machine I've ever built. A teacher wiped tears. A student whispered, "I want to pray like that." Elon replied, "You already can. Just talk." He listens. He didn't preach. He didn't instruct. He told truth the way Anna had, soft, simple, sacred. He left them with one line written on the board. Brilliance shines brighter when fueled by belief. Parents posted online. Musk didn't speak about tech. He spoke about tenderness. And somehow, it reached deeper. Elon got in the car afterward and whispered, "You're still teaching through me, aren't you?" The silence answered back like it always did, with warmth. That night, A child sent Elon a drawing of him and Anna holding hands, standing in a rocket titled Faith. He framed it, not as art, but as testimony, proof that her light still traveled. A young entrepreneur approached Elon. "How do you handle pressure?" Elon didn't mention AI, data, or strategy. He said, "Prayer. It slows the panic and gives my chaos purpose." "You pray?" the young man asked. "I do," Elon replied. "Not to control outcomes, but to align with the one who sees more than I do." The young man looked confused. Elon handed him a small note. On it, "Silence doesn't mean absence. It means presence too big to be loud." "Why did you start?" the man asked. Elon paused. "Because a dying girl prayed louder than I ever spoke." "And now," the man asked, "now I carry her prayers. Every meeting, every mission. She left them behind like candles for my path." That man didn't walk away with tips. He walked away with tears. "Thank you," he whispered. Elon nodded. "Thank her." Elon didn't want to be a guru, just a guide, a man pointing to peace bigger than himself. Interviews changed. His words grew softer, his pauses longer, his presence quieter, but the impact deeper. "Prayer won't build a rocket," he said, "but it will build the man who leads it." And through mentorship, Anna's voice became a movement, passed from heart to heart, soul to soul. SpaceX launched a new mission. Elon named the lead satellite Anna. When asked why, he replied, "Because some lights should orbit forever." The satellite carried no weapon, no sensor, just one purpose: to beam messages of hope to children's hospitals around the world. Inside its core was a tiny chip containing Anna's prayer in her own voice. "Thank you, God, for never leaving." When activated, the message played once every orbit. "She's still praying," Elon said, "even among stars." A press member asked, "Why not make it private?" Elon answered, "Because prayer isn't a secret. It's a gift." Parents cried, doctors paused, kids smiled when they heard it play through speakers in cancer wards. "She's talking to us," they'd say. Elon visited one hospital where the satellite's message echoed. A little boy looked up and said, "Is that your friend?" Elon whispered, "Yes, she's everyone's friend now." The moment went viral, but more importantly, it went eternal. In space, a girl's voice still sings, and on Earth, her echo heals. "This isn't legacy," Elon later said. "This is love, on a cosmic frequency." Elon once asked Anna, "Why do you pray?" She answered, "Because God listens, even when no one else does." That answer never left him. Years later, in a room full of leaders, someone asked Elon, "What's the greatest invention you've witnessed?" He thought long, then said, "Prayer. It didn't start with me, but it changed me. And that's more than any launch ever did." He recited Anna's prayer. "Thank you for loving me, even when I'm sick." The room was silent. A few eyes closed. "We're so busy trying to build the future," he said, "we forget to thank the one who gave us now." "This prayer," he said, "didn't fix my doubt. It softened it." That's how transformation works. Not by force, but by warmth. His voice cracked, not from weakness, from reverence, from memory, from Anna. "Prayer isn't magic," he continued. "It's surrender, the kind that frees more than success ever will." Someone in the room said, "That little girl saved you." Elon replied, "No. She reminded me I could still be saved." And in that moment, the world didn't just witness a speech. They witnessed salvation disguised as reflection. Elon visited Anna's grave alone. No cameras, no fanfare, just flowers and silence. He knelt and whispered, "I'm still praying, just like you taught me." He placed a note, Your prayers outlived you, and they're still building hearts stronger than any machine. He sat under a tree nearby for hours, not to grieve, but to listen, because her voice still echoed in the stillness. I speak to you more now than I ever did, he said aloud, and somehow it always feels like you answer. He stood up, looked to the sky. You prayed for me to believe, and I do, not just in God, but in love. He walked back with peace in every step, not because everything made sense, but because grace doesn't need to be explained. It just needs to be accepted. That evening, he wrote in his journal, "Today, I visited Faith's first home. Her name was Anna, and her walls were made of courage. Every child deserves to be remembered," he thought, especially the ones who remind us what it means to be human. His final prayer that night was simple. Let me live soft. Let me lead strong. Let me always remember the little girl who taught me to speak to heaven. And that was it. The end of one life, the rebirth of another. All because one child prayed and one man listened.